set some time out to learn something other than military, because I always said this: the military has to come to an end one day.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good day to you, whoever you are and wherever you are. Welcome back to the show. I'm Oliver Perry, and today I have a guest who is a friend. We've known each other for about a year now. We've done some interesting things via the interwebs together and for our conversation and things of the real estate nature. He is a former Air Force member. He is a wholesaler, a real estate investor, and a realtor, and an all-around entrepreneur because he's got some other things he's working on as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment to welcome Mr. Sean Hudson. Sean, how you doing, brother?
Peace, brother. How you doing, man?
Fantastic. I love it. So let's get right into it, man. Tell me, let's go and give the audience a understanding of who you are and what you've been doing and all that great stuff. Let's go.
So, man, I joined the Air Force in January 5th, 2020. Nah, 2000. I just retired in June. 20.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 20 years and 6 months. You
Nice.
know, it was time to go. I gave 20 years to the military, and I said, you know what, it's time to give that time back to my family,
Right.
because I was a C-17 loadmaster. So I was constantly flying all over where I spent, 150, 180 days gone every year.
Wow.
So so it was like, yeah, it was definitely time. I was like, got married, have a 14 and a 15-year-old. My 14-year-old daughter, she plays every sport known to man, so she keeps me very busy.
Right.
So it was time to get after that time back.
I love it. That's fantastic, man. Let's so you're in real estate investing, you're a realtor, you are a wholesaler. Well, technically wholesaling and real estate investing are the same thing. It's just wholesaling is a tool within real estate investing. But you're also just a serial entrepreneur all together and in general. How did you get and when did you get into real estate? Because clearly you had to do it while you were in the military. So how did you get into it?
Man, to be totally honest with you, we share the same Coach Tommy Holt,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he's my cousin. And one day he came to visit me in Charleston, South Carolina, and he was like, "We supposed to go somewhere." He was like, "Yo, I can't go because I have to talk to. I paid for a phone call consultation."
Right.
So I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So we left. We left him there. He came back and he was like, "Man, I think we're on to something." And
Right.
I was like, "What do you mean we're on to something?" He was like, "Wholesaling." To me, like Tommy, he's always been like that serial entrepreneur.
Right.
And I was just like, man, nothing one of your quick get rich schemes, like he was like, nah, man, it's legit. He was like, yo, I just talked to some dude on the phone named Max Maxwell.
Oh boy.
So
The
I was
goat.
like, yo, who in the world is Max Maxwell? he
Right.
was like, trust me. Then like maybe about 4 months later, he sends me this email. He said, yo, I just created a course. Check it out. See what you think. So,
Mm,
I go through the course and I'm just sitting here like, all right, what did I just look at? Because I didn't know nothing about wholesaling.
right.
But at that time, we were talking about getting into real estate. So we were both getting our real estate license. So, I'm all thinking about, I'm going to be a realtor. That's all I'm going to do, be a realtor.
Right.
And then, so then I was like, okay, this wholesaling thing sounds, okay. And then that next October, he was like, hey, there's a wholesaling elite conference. Yeah, won't you come with me? So,
Mm,
I'm in the military. I'm not making money right now.
right.
Like everybody
Right.
think you're in the military, you rich.
Nah, bro. That is not the case.
So, I pulled up on the site and the tickets was like $600. I was like, dude, I'm not paying $600 in an old conference. So he said, man, if you don't get nothing out the conference, he said, I'll give you your money back.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
was like, okay, cool. And mind you, I was in the middle of studying to get my realtor's exam. So I'm like, man, this better be a good weekend because you cutting in my study time. And I went on that to that conference and changed my life, bro. Like I've been wholesaling ever since. It's crazy fact. I came home, I'm telling everybody, hey, yo, I'm a real estate investor. I ain't did not one deal. I had business cards. I went and started handing out business cards to everybody.
Yep.
Like I'm in the military. That's my first time ever having a business card. I was just happy to have a business card.
Nice.
I gave my business card to somebody, and he said, "Hey, I know somebody needs your help." And I was like,
Let's go.
like 2 days later, I go to the lady's house.
Mm-hmm.
She literally had all of her boxes packed at her door, waiting to get kicked out.
Oh wow! So she was already ready to move.
Yeah, like I'm sitting there, like, mind you, I'm only 2 weeks out of wholesale elite. I really don't know what I'm doing. I went through the course. I was like,
Right.
okay. So I just picked the phone. I said, Tommy, help. He was like, okay. He walked me through. I got the property, and it wasn't nothing that we can give her because she was so behind on her mortgage. I
Right.
think we wound up sliding her like a grand, 2 grand, just, and we moved and we helped her move. But I'm sitting there. He was like, dude. He was like, go to your local RIA and tell people you got a house under contract. So I mean, that week I was at every RIA that there was. I was like, hey, I got a house under contract. Not knowing what I was doing, and then finally another wholesaler who is a cash buyer
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey, let me help you out." And there wasn't too much spread on it. I tell people my first wholesale deal, I made $500.
Wow.
but the experience and everything I learned on that first
Right.
wholesale deal set me up for success. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
them. That's how I got into real estate. Like,
That's that's first of all, that's wild. For you to get, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are listening and watching, a laydown is what we call in wholesaling someone who's just ready to go. They don't care what you do, just get them out of there. That's what we call a laydown. But for people who don't often get a laydown, often, let alone as the very first deal, that is that's crazy. For you get to lay down and the very first deal is nuts. Now,
yeah.
here's the next question: when was the next time you got to lay down after that?
So my next deal was until 9 months later. I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't doing much. It
Right.
was I was still flying. So like I created a sideline number on my phone. Well, that didn't work overseas. So I was driving for dollars, sending out a lot of postcards. I would come back, have like 7 voicemails. And
Oh.
then I'm like, oh crap. So I call them up. They already didn't sold the house. So it was just like, it was just like, man, like, okay, I'm gonna have to stop doing this until, it's pretty much until I'm retired because I'm
Right.
losing out on all these deals. So then that's when I put the realtor hat on.
Mm-hmm.
And for our military people out there that's listening to this, if you're in the military, you should have a real estate license. Because think about how many people PCS in and out every single year.
It's true.
It got it got to the point where people were like, "Oh, you're in real estate. Hey, can you sell my house? Hey, you're in real estate. My friend PCSing here. Can you help him find a house?" So then it was just like, okay.
Right.
And so I had the real estate hat on while I was still flying because I was able. We have a broker, we have other agents that can help with paperwork, stuff like that. So that's how I got there. And then I was still doing a couple of wholesale deals here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said, I always drove for dollars. That was like my getaway, away from you know, get away from the kids and the dog and the wife for a little bit. I'd be like, hey, I'll be back in an hour. You
Right.
know, go get a
Yeah.
couple
You.
properties.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you got to use that me time to go ahead and make you some money, cause
Exactly.
that's definitely like, I understand that because I've done that myself. Hey, let me go for a ride. I'm gonna go for a ride, cause as a military member, let's be 100% honest. We all, for the most part, get a little itchy when it comes to being in one place too long, because you're so used to moving from place to place to place. Particularly with the active duty and the AGR members, they're always moving, right?
Yes, sir.
TPU personnel not so much normally, but even them, they get idle. They get uncomfortable when they get idle because they feel like they got to be doing something. So the fact that you were doing that is, bro, that's kudos to you because you at least gave it a shot while you were traveling to see if you could
Yeah,
figure it out. Now, I'm sure now if you knew what you knew now, you'd be able to execute it still, but that's neither here nor there at this point. So
yeah, definitely, definitely.
with you doing with that, so how that transition from Air Force member to retired Air Force member go, and then how did you? No, let's just talk about that. How did that transition go? Were you already set up with that, or how that go across?
So yeah, so when I started learning about wholesaling,
Mm-hmm.
well, the beginning of 2018, I had a little crazy. Sometimes the military, they're not always in your favor. you know, uh,
Facts.
had a little uh, confrontation with a couple of the higher ups, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then when they everybody said that they had my back, and then when it came down to it, nobody had my
Mm-hmm.
back.
Yeah.
That right there put me in the mindset like, okay, you know what, this military is going to come to an end.
Yeah.
I have to start looking out for myself, because if I don't look out for myself, who's going to look out for me?
Right.
So that's when I just instead of Netflixing and chilling, TV, like I literally January 21st of 2018 to January 1st, 2019, bro, I did not watch any TV.
Okay.
I
Just grind, huh?
I dove into books, podcasts. I did the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. Cause then I was like, okay, if I'm a retire and I want to go into this entrepreneur world, I was like, I need to get rid of all this debt.
Right.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
went, yeah, I went full steam ahead, getting rid of debt. I don't know if anybody ever heard Dave Ramsey talk, but he said when you're getting out of debt, he was like, man, just start selling everything. Man, I was selling everything out of my house that if I didn't use it in a year, I was selling
Mm-hmm.
it and just putting it towards credit cards, just and then I got to that point where okay, I'm debt free. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
now, that's when I started finding out about real estate. How we can get on YouTube University. I got a doctorate from YouTube University right now.
What, me
Uh,
too, bro. I got one too. I'm working on my second right now.
yeah, so man, I mean, so I started preparing for retirement, then, because I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like there's nothing. I used to tell people like you couldn't, step promote me to E9 for me to stay in. Like
Right.
I wasn't doing it.
Right.
uh, but yeah, so then, I started talking it as I'm learning stuff, I started bringing it back to my squadron, talking to some of these people about it.
Mm-hmm.
Literal behold, I had a bunch of pilots that I flew with. They were all real estate investors. They
Oh
were,
wow.
yes, they all had rental properties. They were doing private money. They were doing fix and flips. So we were like, oh, okay. It's funny because I actually just wholesaled the house to a old pilot of mine here in Georgia a couple of
Oh
weeks ago.
wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. But after that, everybody saw my change, and I mean they knew I was gonna retire, and then next people just started pinging me for information on. So that's how I started the transition.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome because you clearly had and even not even then you didn't have a plan, to be honest. From what
No,
it sounds like, you were just like, hey, I'm gonna go and give this a shot, and you did. And because you spent the time talking to people and telling people about what you're doing, things started rolling and continue to
yep,
roll, which is
yep.
something I tell people all the time when they ever ask me, hey, what do you do? God knows, don't ask me what do I do, because you are in for it. If we're not if we're not in the military setting, I'm gonna give you the whole shebang.
Hmm.
Um, so here's a question for you: with your work that you learned in real estate, and then the time where you were still in the military, everybody will ask you, "What did the military teach you for real estate?" I want to know what real estate taught you for the military while you were in.
What did real estate teach me for real estate? So you said what did real estate teach me for the
Right.
military?
Right. So, what did you take from real estate that helped you in the military side of it?
So I learned a lot of so that's one thing. Us as military members, we have so many tools that are handed to us, as in benefits, as in VA loans,
Mm-hmm.
as in all of this stuff, which it's crazy. I bought a house on my VA loan, but I still didn't understand what a VA loan was. I didn't understand like how you can leverage a VA loan.
Right.
And actually, if I take it back, I kind of got into real estate like early 2010 because I had an older guy tell me. He said, "Hey, every duty station you go to, buy a house." He said, "Don't buy the nicest house." He said, "Buy something that you could live in for 3 or 4 years and turn into a rental."
Yep.
So I was just like, okay, I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a house here, bought a house there, but it wasn't adding up to me that I was in real estate. It was just something that, somebody told me to do and I did it.
Right.
Um, but I guess, just the benefits, what I'm saying, just seeing first of all how a doggy dog world it is out here in this real estate game between different realtors, real estate investors. I'm sitting here taking it back to the military where I'm like, you know what, I had it pretty easy in the military. Besides the traveling and all that good stuff, but
Right.
it was man, I tell me I was on the clubhouse the other day and I was like, man, I wouldn't take it back for the world because I've learned so much. I'd probably did a couple of things different, but I wouldn't take it back.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, everything you said just now is dead on. Because the interesting thing about, I'm sure you'll agree with, about us in the military is, like you said, we got all these assets, but because the military, we work as a business, we're in the business of defending the nation, right? So we don't
Mhm.
have all the time to really focus on teaching people how to use those tools. So sadly and unfortunately, we got to go on outside forces or outside places to figure it out. But man, the amount of tools, the amount of things you can do with the VA loan, the amount of things you can do with a little bit of grant help by being a veteran, stuff like that, like it's crazy. And then just to mention, for anybody who is interested in it and is looking to learn about real estate investing or do whatever, all you have to do is go to one of these RIA meetings and you go in uniform, and that's it. It's over.
Man, it's funny. That's the first real meeting I went to. I was in uniform.
Brother, listen, I did the exact same thing. As a matter of fact, I told Tommy, I think it was one of our coaching calls. I told Tommy, I said, listen, I think it was like 2 days, my second time on there. I was like, I'm going to this RIA meeting. I'm gonna go in uniform. And
Hmm.
I planned on going uniform and wearing like the wrong cap. Like listen. I'm putting every piece of uniform. I'm putting my blues on. I'm putting my greens. I'm putting my BDUs on. Like you name it, I'm slapping that bad boy on.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna go in there ready to go, and that's exactly what I did. And just like you said, man, the amount of respect, of course, and the love and the appreciation you get is far and away better than anybody else. And then people they're more friendly and willing to talk to you because they know you've got that military experience and you fight for the nation, all that great stuff. So they know you're
Yes.
willing to sacrifice for others. So, um, yeah, I say all that to say, yeah, that's 100% the way to go.
But
So
it's the
now,
fun fact.
sure,
Sorry,
no, go
fun
for it,
fact.
go for it.
It'd be my day off.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a wholesale client call me, I would put my uniform on to just to kind of normalize myself.
Right.
Just to say I'm not no big company out here, trying to rip you off on your
Mm-hmm.
home price. I'm like, hey guy, I'm active duty military. I'm just trying to create, a little bit of extra money, what I'm saying, for my family.
Absolutely.
And like it would be Sunday, I got my uniform on going on an appointment.
Brother, I mean, like I had to really, like, I had to make sure because I was doing it and I was like, and what I do is I'd mention that I was in the military because I wouldn't put on uniform normally when going to places unless I was leaving after work, and it's always after work because you can't do this stuff and do your day-to-day job at the same time in the military. You gotta dedicate yourself to your unit and what you guys are
Mhm.
doing, and then go and doing everything else. So when I get off, I'll go, but I always, hey, I apologize if I don't call immediately. I do have a 9 to 5. I'm in the military, and I mention it. And anytime I mention it, man, you could see the kind of calmness appear in their eyes and the look in their
Yeah.
face, like,
Yep.
oh, okay, he's not Keller Williams out here trying to buy my property or whatever else. I don't know what I thought about Keller Williams. Shout out to Keller Williams. No offense,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, right.
Um, but yeah, I'm not this big company looking to buy your stuff up. I'm just a guy who's out here looking to make an income for his family, looking to set his up family for success, and willing to help whoever and however I can to anybody who needs it. So, yeah, man, we we are 100% on the same page on that. All right.
Hey,
So how many properties are you in now? How many properties you got so far
so right now
in your portfolio?
I have 3 rental properties,
Okay, nice,
which
nice.
the third one just became one when I moved to Atlanta, my Charleston one. Um, like I said, every house I bought, I had plans on turning it into a rental. So right now I have 3 of them.
Yep, and this is the time too, particularly if you can refi, because you can refi right out of that VA loan and have like a 2.5 FHA or whatever traditional loan, and you be
My one
good
in
to go.
my one in Charleston, I got a 2.25.
Woo! 2.25, bro. That's not bad at all. That's fantastic. I wouldn't touch that ever. I just leave it.
Exactly.
Bro, that's fantastic. So, all right. So here's a really good question. What advice would you give to those who are looking into it, who are in the military now, right? And they're having that apprehension because we know with anybody, there's always a fear before you take that first leap and you get comfortable. What would your
Mhm.
advice be to them?
Step out your comfort zone. That is one. I mean, and that's for anything in life. Nothing comes good in your comfort zone. You're just gonna, sit here, go to work, come home, walk around in your basketball shorts, your slides, and your brown socks
Yep. Yep. That's
and your
it.
brown t-shirt. You know. So I tell people, man, get out there, have fun, because I had a ton of fun in the military. Get out there, have fun, but also, set some time out to learn something other than military. Because I always said this: the military has to come to an end one day, and you don't. When it comes to an end, whether it be you know voluntarily or non-voluntarily, which it comes from one mess up in the military, they might say, okay, yeah, bye. You might develop an illness, you might get medically discharged or medically retired. So you should always have a plan B to fall back on. And then, as the military could be your plan A. And then as you retire, separate, do whatever you need to do, your plan B can turn into your plan A.
Whoo, brother. Whoo, if y'all not paying attention, you should be. Because the man just gave you exactly what you needed to do to go about and figuring this stuff out. Because the only way you're going to find out is if you go, period. You can watch all the videos in the world. You can YouTube University. I told you I'm on my second doctorate degree. When I get to my third, if I ain't take action on the first two, it'll never go anywhere. It'll be useless information. I just went and watched videos all day, right? So take action, take your shot, have
And
fun,
then
and
think
give it a
about it like
chance.
this too, though. Think about it
Sure,
like this. You're
absolutely.
getting a military paycheck every first and 15th. So if you mess up, it doesn't matter because you still get paid.
That's very that's very true. That is very very true. That's very true. So with here's a question I do like to ask, and I think it's really important, particularly for those who are looking to learn and they're in relationships and things of that nature. How have you handled that balance between yourself and family when it comes to all your real estate? Because you do a lot of stuff. So how are you handling that balance between you and the family?
So I will not sit here and boast and brag and say that I have it all figured out.
I don't think anybody
But
does.
when I'm up here on the computer working and I'm getting nasty text messages from my wife like, "Hey, we started the movie 10 minutes ago. Where are you?" Like I said, when I was going through my YouTube University phase, the wife used to unplug the internet, so I have to go to bed. So 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 now I make it a point to 8 o'clock. I stop everything. Sometimes 7 o'clock. Like it just. And during the day, I can't lolly around. I have to get up. I got to get to work because I know especially with my daughter playing softball, lacrosse, and the soccer coach or whatever the trainer. Like she played travel softball too. So I don't have time to lollygag around. I'm like, okay, I get up, get to it. I set my appointments. It's funny because my wife is actually downstairs right now building out my new Facebook page and all that stuff because she retires in September.
Nice.
So she doesn't know what she wants to do. She's been in personnel her whole 20 years. So
Mm-hmm.
she's good with paperwork. So I'm teaching her pretty much to be my assistant. So at least, I'm getting her in the business. So then when
Exactly.
I'm working, it doesn't feel like she doesn't feel like I'm working because we're working together. So
Exactly. And then on top of that, you really look at a lot of the people who are in it that are couples, like the Polites, and quite a few others. For matter of fact, now I think about it, like there's a new
Brandon
couple I
Barnes,
follow. Yeah, Brandon Barnes, and
yeah.
matter of fact, there's a couple I follow called the New Bill couple. They're basically called
Hmm.
the New Bill couple, but they build house together. That's their thing. Like the fact that you have the ability to do that, man, makes you much more dangerous to other people. Like I'm working to figure out how to get mine into it. Like I'm trying a little tricky, sneaky way, bro. Anything I can do. Hey,
Bro,
listen, can you just look up this address?
3 years I've been trying. And one
Right.
day she pulled up. Keep trying it. It'll work.
Right? I mean, yeah, and that's the thing, man. For those of you who have a missus or a spouse in general, the more you just give them the information that you learn, share with them the information. I don't care if they want to hear it. I don't care if they give you a hard time. Just continually share the information because it's going to do two things. One, it's going to establish that continued communication between the two of you. He or
Mhm.
she's never going to feel like they're not aware of what's going on or never feel like you're left out. And then two, they're always going to be a part of what you're doing, even by proxy. Just them being there, now they're a part. So they're learning all this stuff so that when the time comes and they're like, all right, I want to jump on board, you ain't got to retrain nobody because they already know what's going on. You've briefed them on everything you've done before. So, yeah, man, I think that is super important to do. All right, so what are you doing? What's new now? What are you doing now? I know you had a podcast you guys were working on,
Mhm.
and you and I talked about that before the call. But what else are you working on? And then when's that podcast coming back too? By the way.
Oh, you know what, man? He just texted me too. and but yeah, we definitely gonna get it started back up. We're gonna record one this week, and it's called Mind Your Wealth.
Okay.
We pretty much we just like he's a stock guru, option trading, and all this. He tries to get me in there. I do a little dabble. I consult him first, like, hey, should I do this? He does, and I'm teaching him how to wholesale as well. So it's like, okay, so in our podcast, we're not talking to the world, but we're talking to each other. Because we'll break it down. He'll tell me, he'll be like, hey, let's look at the market today. So then we'll just turn the podcast on and we start going over the market, what's going on with this, what's going on with this stock. I do the same thing with real estate. Like, hey man, I just got a property under contract, the ARVs, this. So it's like we're talking to each other, teaching each other, but we put it into a podcast so everybody can get something out of it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, give away, give away, give away, and give away some more is the philosophy. I think
Yes, sir.
just for anybody in this time right now. So, all right, so we're gonna move on to segments, and in segments, we're gonna go over. We got two segments we do, and we kind of close it out from there. They're called. One of them is Troop to Task. The other one is Situation Awareness. Now, Troop to Task. I'm sure you know what that is. It's basically you giving the viewer, the audience, something that they can do right now to get started on that track forward. In your particular case, I'd say wholesaling would be the wave, or even in real estate, just in general. So I'm gonna give you the floor so you can give them a task to do.
All right, let's go.
Just give it.
All right, so for you guys, we talk behind the scenes about one task that I need to give you right now. I could go in, I could tell you, to get on YouTube and start, learning about wholesaling, how to become a real estate investor, how to trade stocks. But the first task that I need you to do is change your mindset because the
Ooh.
mindset is everything. We're so programmed that we're just going to get a paycheck on the 1st and 15th, whether we do anything at work or not. So I mean, I know some people in the building, they don't do nothing, and they sit there, they pass all the work on to somebody else, and like, oh, I'm still going to get paid. So I mean, the one thing is, start reading mindset books. Changing your mindset because once you could get into real estate and might not like it. You could get into trading stocks, might not like it. You get in flipping houses, might not like it. But if once you change that mindset, now you can't get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's there forever. So anything else that you want to go on to do in life, then that's what it's going to be.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So next one, situation awareness.
Hmm.
What you do is just give them something they can read or listen to that supports what you just talked to them about in regards to, and it's a little bit different this time, but it supports them for what you just told them on that troop to task. I think it might be helpful for them.
All right. So, and I'm ashamed to say this, but probably from the age I was probably learned how to read, maybe like 3 or 4 years old. From 3 or 4 years old, to like 37, I probably read 2 books from cover to cover. From 37 to 41, I've probably read about 62 books.
Jesus. That's
Okay,
a lot of catch up.
okay, hold on. I've read and listened to.
Nah. It counts. It counts. I don't care what nobody else say. That counts either way. It counts. That still
Yeah,
work.
of course, the book that everybody always says that changed their life, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That literally hit home for me. Then I read The Richest Man in Babylon. The Millionaire Next Door, the 4 Hour Work Week. But one of the best books was the Go Giver. Um,
Ooh.
and that is my 2021 motto, and for here on out, and that's relationships over money. Because as long as you're out there giving out, like we just said, free game, give it out, it's going to reciprocate.
Yep.
So I mean, like I said, it's part of the mindset, but that's what you can do to start seeing different ways of life than what you were actually brought up on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's so anybody who's listening and you just said to yourself, I'm not giving away anything free or I'm nervous somebody else going to take it. I'm going to give you a stat. I recently read a stat that 7% of people who go and take a course actually complete it. Let me repeat that. 7% of 100, just say 100 people put in for that course, right? 7 of them complete the course. That's a crazy number.
And course is not cheap.
And they are not cheap. People are putting thousands of dollars away in courses and they don't complete the course. As a matter of fact, I will be 100% honest with you. I've got one, two, three. I have like 4 courses right now that I haven't finished. 4 courses that I haven't finished. I put money in on them. I've done some of the work for them, but I've stopped, right? Because things happen. Life happens. It is what it is. Not saying anybody's wrong or blaming you for it or saying you're less than. None of that. What I am saying, though, is the information that you put out very well may not be used. It most likely won't be used. But the fact that you put it out makes the person more comfortable with you as a person who's giving it to them. And God only knows when you decide to actually put that ask out, it's going to be there, but you have to put some information out for them. Give them something. Give them something to believe in. Give them the truth. Give them the honest truth. Share your journey. Just give them. Give. And I say that in support of Sean's word on the go-giver. Just give, man. Just give. So with that being said, Sean, what you got to plug? Do you have any way they can get in contact with you and keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm very, very heavy on Instagram. Is Mr. underscore real underscore estate underscore ATL.
These underscores, boy. This ain't no
Yeah,
joke.
I know. Everybody was taking the good names, so I just had to throw an underscore in there to get my name.
Listen, I'm with it. That is actually fantastic. That's good stuff. So y'all keep up with him there. Make sure you check him out. If you can't find him, don't you worry. Shoot me a message at the Oliver Perry on IG. You can shoot me a message on Facebook at the Oliver Perry Show. You can even shoot me a message on Twitter at the Oliver Perry or TikTok at the Oliver Perry 38. I will give you whatever you need to get a hold of Sean. He's a great guy. I consider him a friend. We talk every so often, and he's an actual go-getter. So we appreciate you watching the show. We appreciate you being a part. Sean, thank you so much again, man, for coming on. We look forward to seeing you next time. And next time we got something else, I'm going to have to bring you back on the show. We're going to talk it up again. Hopefully
Yeah,
this time we can do it COVID-free. I can actually come out to Atlanta and we can sit
yeah,
down there.
definitely.
So,
Yeah, we definitely going to get on because I got a couple of things from my military people in the pipeline that I can't exactly talk about right now, but it's coming.
I love it. I love it. Bated breath. They should be waiting. All right. All right, y'all. Enjoy the day. We hope you loved it. We'll see you again next time.
All right, peace.